Welcome back to Hot Water Wrestling, everybody, and I'm here with my WrestleMania 27 review of the pay-per-view. I'll start out by saying this was definitely a mixed bag pay-per-view. There were some good things, there were some bad things. Over the last 3 years, WrestleMania 24, 25, 26, I don't believe it was as strong as those three events. One glaring reason is probably the omission of the Money in the Bank ladder match. It was always a very thrilling match. It was always a time where they took a younger superstar and put him over and gave him an opportunity to shine and give him a chance to make a splash at some point during the year by catching in his Money in the Bank. And so it was always a cool thing it was always thrilling, I guess I should say, to watch that match and see who was going to actually walk away with that briefcase. And when the card was first announced and I first went over my predictions, I didn't see it as such a glaring omission as when I was actually watching the pay-per-view. It kind of occurred to me that, wow, it would have really been nice to have had the Money in the Bank ladder match, and I didn't really know what I was missing until it was gone, which is like most things in life. You don't know what you got until it's gone. Anyways, let's go down the card. Sheamus and Daniel Bryan at the last second obviously was moved off the card. I thought that was a really stupid idea. It would have been a good way to open the show. Opening the show with the World Heavyweight Championship match was a little ambitious, but I don't want to get ahead of myself. So I didn't see the Daniel Bryan versus Sheamus match, but I'm sure they could have put on a good match. So we didn't see that. So the first match of the evening obviously was Edge versus Alberto Del Rio for the World Heavyweight Championship, and I thought this was a very enjoyable match. It was a lot of fun. Really shocked that it opened the pay-per-view, but what else could they really have opened the pay-per-view if it wasn't going to be Daniel Bryan versus Sheamus other than Edge versus Alberto Del Rio, because obviously the Jerry Lawler match and the Snooki match and the 8-man tag match with the Core are not strong enough matches to open a WrestleMania. So having a really strong match between Bryan and Sheamus would have actually paid off here. But instead we got the World Heavyweight Championship match, which I didn't have a problem with. I believe I predicted Del Rio to win this match. I don't remember, but I wasn't actually surprised that Edge actually ended up winning. And it is kind of refreshing that they didn't give Del Rio that push to the moon like they did Sheamus. I don't want them to get in the habit of doing that every time a new guy comes in. Even if he is marketable and he's a good wrestler and all that stuff, there still is no reason to topple someone like Edge or John Cena to put over some new face. It just kind of makes it ridiculous. So I think it's actually a good thing that it was preserved. Once again, the lack of a good tag team division in the WWE showed through, because if the Hart Dynasty was still together, it would have been great to have seen a tag team championship match, a serious one, between the Hart Dynasty and any number of awesome tag teams they could put together with the guys on their roster. So another reason the WWE get this tag division going. So next we had Rey Mysterio versus Cody Rhodes, which I thought was solid. It was a pretty good match. I'm glad he doesn't have the dashing gimmick. I never liked it. Even before the mask, I never liked it. It just screamed mid-card to me. It didn't really scream like it would have any kind of lasting impression. It always kind of seemed buried. So I like the new direction they're going. I will hope that Cody Rhodes loses the mask. I think that hurts him, hurts his potential for growth. And he's a young star that I've always liked. Obviously, I loved watching his father when I was younger, and so I'm just feel compelled to root for him. Where's Ted DiBiase? What happened to him? So obviously Cody Rhodes is actually sitting prettier than him, because at least he had a match at WrestleMania this year where Ted DiBiase wasn't even around. That's another thing with the whole Core and involving sorry about that, involving Wade Barrett or Kofi Kingston in this 8-man tag match. That was kind of meaningless. The Intercontinental strap should have been on someone maybe like Ted DiBiase, to actually have a quality Intercontinental title match on the card at WrestleMania. Probably would have made a lot of sense, but a wasted opportunity. So I'm sorry if I'm a little all over the place. I'm scrolling through the match listing, so just bear with me. So then, of course, we had our 8-man tag match with the Core versus Big Show, Kane, Santino, and Kofi Kingston. I mean, it was a total squash. Those guys just went out there and kicked their ass. Kofi Kingston looked great during this match. He was the most exciting part of it. And I just like how they just let him just kick the crap out of people, and then Big Show and Kane finished him off. Stupid match, though. Not really that great. The next match I did like, Randy Orton versus CM Punk, was a little better than I actually thought it was going to be. Like I said in my preview of WrestleMania, that this was a very important match for CM Punk, and I think that he delivered, and it did everything that he needed it to do for his career. It only made sense that they put Randy Orton over Punk in this match for the sole fact that Punk had been nagging Randy Orton and attacked him at his tour bus and all that stuff. So you had to see Randy Orton get his revenge. But they did put on a very good match. It was very entertaining. And up until this point, I was really happy with the WrestleMania pay-per-view, other than losing out on the Daniel Bryan and Sheamus match, which at that point I still didn't even know was off the card. But I kept saying, like, okay, well, when are they going to have this Daniel Bryan and Sheamus match? Because they've already had a World Championship match. Now they already had a high-profile match between Orton and Punk. Then we got to Michael Cole versus Jerry Lawler. Now, I was kind of excited for this match. I know I said that in my WrestleMania preview because I wanted to see Michael Cole get his ass kicked. But the way it was booked and the way it was written out totally sucked. I mean, you're going to tell me that Jerry the King Lawler, who took The Miz on for the WWE Championship a month ago at Elimination Chamber, and gave The Miz a run for his money, and gave The Miz a run for his money on Monday Night Raw, struggled in the ring against Michael Cole, even with interference by Jack Swagger. Still, he struggles in the ring. This should have been a squash. This match should have been over in 3 minutes. We should have seen Michael Cole get embarrassed. We should have seen him get his ass beat. And that should have been the end of it. It dragged on for way too long. It was boring. I was yawning. I was thoroughly disappointed in this match. Thoroughly. I thought that the Bret Hart-Vince McMahon match from last year made this match, it just kicked its ass. And that wasn't even a good match. What I meant to say was this Cole-Lawler match made the Bret Hart-Vince McMahon match look like The Rock versus Hulk Hogan, okay? I mean, that match was way better done than this match. So that was a major disappointment. I guess I shouldn't be surprised, but I thought that we would just see Cole get embarrassed and beat up. I didn't think Jerry Lawler was going to struggle in the ring against him. Really, really stupid. Really, really stupid. And the pay-per-view at that point, I started to worry. But then came Undertaker versus Triple H, and I agree with everyone that this was the match of the night. It was a better match than I thought they were going to have. It wasn't near as good as the Shawn Michaels Undertaker matches of the last 2 years. I think a lot of people agree with that. But they did put on a hell of an entertaining match. It was a lot of fun to watch, and I knew that Taker wasn't going to lose his streak just because there wasn't enough incentive and enough build-up, and it would just really make Shawn Michaels look bad, wouldn't it? If Triple H would have just come out there, waltzed out after an injury with no build-up and just beat The Undertaker. So I thought the guys were seriously hurt at some points in the match, so they sold their injuries well, and it was definitely the most entertaining match of the night. Then we get to, I believe, then after that we have our Trish Stratus, John Morrison, Snooki match. What a piece of crap. I didn't really watch it. I think we actually fast-forwarded some of this match. So we started the pay-per-view a half hour early, late. I usually start my pay-per-views a half hour late for the reason of fast-forwarding stupid matches. And this is one of them. So I believe I didn't even really see it. I don't even really care. And the fact that this match was booked so late in the card after Triple H and Undertaker, it's kind of disgraceful. It's kind of disgraceful that a guy like Ted DiBiase wouldn't even be on the WrestleMania card, and Daniel Bryan and Sheamus wouldn't even be on the WrestleMania card in favor of having this ridiculous match with Snooki. So, cutting the Lawler-Michael Cole match in half and having it a much shorter match and taking away this Snooki program, they could have fit another quality match, be it an IC title match or an American Championship match. Whatever, guys. So, the final match, John Cena versus The Miz for the WWE Championship. Hold on a minute, bear with me. John Cena versus Miz for the WWE Championship. I was actually disappointed in this match. It didn't really get off the ground for me. I was wondering when The Rock was going to come out. It was very distracting. We didn't see a lot of The Rock. He came out and did a great promo at the beginning of the show, and except for a few little backstage segments, we didn't really see much of The Rock. And so by the time that match came out, it's just kind of like, where's The Rock? What's going on? How are they going to work this into it? And it was just stupid having to count out. And then once the guys got counted out, I was like, all right, now The Rock's going to come down. And he did. And it was pretty much predictable. And then it ended right away. So it really was not that great of a match. Could have been done on any B-level pay-per-view or even Monday Night Raw. Like I said, I just don't really think the match got off the ground. John Cena's intro with the Soul Singers seemed completely out of place. Granted, they performed well, okay, and what they were doing was fine, but not fine for WrestleMania, and just was really off-putting and kind of strange and like, what in the blue hell is this? So I was really disappointed with that match. All in all, it was an okay WrestleMania, but it didn't feel like a WrestleMania, I think there's just a lot of things they could have done better. I hope that they learn next year that they really kind of need to stick to the basics when it comes to WrestleMania and not stack the card with so much, entertainment, I guess you could say is what they like to call it. All the backstage segments were really, really stupid. Of course, the Hornswoggle Snoop Dogg thing, stupid. The Rock Mae Young thing, that was fine because it ended with the Stone Cold Steve Austin, but still wasn't really the greatest. So that's my take on WrestleMania. Out of 5 stars, I give it 3 stars, and that's being generous. I don't want to give it 2.5 because of the great matches by Orton, Punk, Edge, Del Rio, and Undertaker, Triple H. That'll give us the 3 stars, but I thought The Rock could have been used better. I wasn't completely disappointed with his involvement, but I just think it could have been better. The Cena-Miz match absolutely could have been better, and I think there were just a lot of people left off the card this year that deserved to be on the WrestleMania card and that should have, and it's just kind of a shame. And that's all Hot Water Wrestling has to say about it. I've enjoyed seeing your guys' videos. I hope if you went to WrestleMania, you had a good time. And so we'll see what happens on Monday Night Raw tonight. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time on Hot Water Wrestling.